Om Sadashivasamaramabham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Any questions, clarifications on what we have done up to now are all clear? Okay. No questions, I am assuming things are clear, okay? Sometimes I also think that I should start giving people homework, The numbers may drop a bit, but at least those who remain will be very, very keen people. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So one thing I am going to do is, I am going to mute everyone. If you want to ask a question, please unmute and ask and mute back. Okay. Because as it is, there are enough disturbances. We don't want all other disturbances also coming in. Okay.
Pranam Swamiji.
Like this, I don't want this disturbance coming in when you join late. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I respect the sentiment behind greeting me, but when you join late, quietly join in and sit down, So, I am going to mute everyone now. Unmute if you want to ask something and mute back again. My house is relatively quiet, so that there won't be many disturbances. So, let us do the best we can. Okay. So, remember, each verse he has been doing up to now, he has been talking about, he has been revealing the nature of the self. You cannot make a division. This is what happens sometimes when you start studying Vedanta. This is Atma, this is Anatma, two separate things. And you have Drigdrishya Viveka, etc. Atma and Atma Viveka, all that to support their thinking. But that's not how it is. Atma and Atma are not two entities. One is a real entity, one is a false entity. To give a popular example in Vedanta, the rope and snake are not two separate entities. The rope is real, the snake is false. The snake is superimposed on the rope. Yes, you have to negate this wrong conclusion of snake to understand the rope. But where will you find the rope? Where you see the snake. You can't say, forget the snake, I want to see the rope somewhere else. That won't happen. Because the rope is not somewhere else. The rope is right where you are seeing the snake. Kurta and cloth. In this example, the cloth is real, kurta is mithya, apparent. So, where will you find the cloth? Don't say in the shop. Beyond, your idea of beyond. Where the kurta is, there the cloth is. So, this is what he has been emphasizing in all these verses. All these verses, he has been emphasizing that, and that's important. Because if you try to take it as two distinct things, you are creating duality where there is no duality. As it is, your mind is caught up in duality. The Teaching of Vedanta is supposed to negate that duality. But if you bring in that idea of duality into the teaching, there is no hope. The duality is not between two real things. It's an apparent duality between Satyam and Mithya, between what is real and what appears. There is no two, rising sun and non-rising sun. Is there two things? One is the rising sun. You have to negate the rising sun to see the non-rising sun. Do you say that? Even a school-going child will not say that. Flat earth and round earth. Are there two earths? One is round is real, flat is appearance. Flat is experiential. What does that prove? Rising sun is experiential. Flat earth is experiential. Kurta is experiential. What does that prove? That experience is not always real. We are too caught up in our experiential world. But experience is not real. Experience doesn't give you knowledge as well. You know, during my working years, my Purvashrama, I had a boss who would ask this question. Very intelligent guy he was. Do you really have 10 years experience in the field, or are you repeating the 1 year's experience 10 times? Do you really have 10 years experience, or have you repeated 1 year's experience 10 times? First year there was learning, after that there is no learning. Similarly with all experiences, we think experience gives us knowledge. It is always what you analyze out of the experience that gives you knowledge. And the human mind is such, it can analyze in 10 different ways. I have told you that example. Maybe the new students have not heard it. There was this padri going around, speaking on the ills of drinking. Though really speaking, the padri cannot speak on the ills of drinking because he offers bread and wine every day in the church. Anyway, he is going around. So he was a firm believer in experiential learning. So he took a worm and dropped it in a glass of water. The worm was happily swimming around. Then he picked up a worm and dropped it in the glass of whiskey. And the worm naturally died. So he asked the audience, what is the learning from here? So one guy with a bulbous nose and red ears, Father, yes my son, what is it? If you drink whiskey, you will have no worms in your stomach. Experiential learning, be careful. What the father wanted to say was something completely different. Why? Because analysis differs. What you draw, what lessons you draw from an experience can differ. Yeah. Therefore, Vedantic learning is definitely not experiential. It is knowledge based depending upon the pramana, the means of knowledge, the Upanishads, the Gita and books like that. Okay. So now back to the text with this much of background. I never get tired of emphasizing this because, why? Because our minds are too caught up in our experience. The whole world is too caught up in the experiential thing. And it is there right across everything. Previously, when a house was being sold, it was sold on the features of how good the house will be, how Vastu-wise it is correct, how the space is planned well. This was how it was sold. Now, it's all about experience. What a beautiful experience you will have in our house. Hey, experience is what I make out of it. Tell me what the house is like. What's the reality there? I want to know that. Yeah, I want to know that. Yeah. Our time cars were sold on the basis of performance, mileage, this, etc. Now it's all about leather, upholstery, dashboard. What a beautiful experience it is to see it. Driving is a pleasure. Experience. The whole world, this is what is going into your minds. Subliminally, this is what is happening. The subliminal message going on, their experience is everything. It's another gimmick of marketing, that's all. Yeah. Marketing can be done well or it can be done gimmicky like this. Gimmicky is easy. Yeah. Not that it was not there in olden times. Cigarette advertisements, the Marlboro man, the great outdoors, and cigarette in your hand. Why? You can't stand fresh air over, you need to pollute it over. So this experience orientation is very high in our minds and we need to negate that. Experience is not based on reality. You can have fantastic experiences based on mithya things. Like watching a movie, etc. It's all based on mithya things only, no? Yeah. The whole movie is mithya anyway. But I've seen people quoting movie as though it's a fact. What happened in the movie? Anyway, that apart, I'm sure the students of Vedanta will not fall for that. So the 12th verse, second canto, second chapter, second canto, we had seen the 12th verse last time. Okay. Then he is going ahead with the idea. Okay. Same way he is presenting the Atma. Nityaha anityanam chetanas chetananam muko meko bahunam yo vidadati kaman tam atma samye anupashyanti dhiraha tesham shantim shashvatim netaresham. Tesham shantim shashvatim. These people have that eternal peace. Peace that is not disturbed by anything. Peace that is in spite of all disturbances. Peace that is in spite of all thoughts. Peace in spite of all the worldly conflicts. That type of a peace. The peace that is beyond all experience. That peace, okay. Na itaresham, not for the others. Okay, who will get that peace? Nityaha anityanam. In the anitya world, those who can see what is nityam. Why? Anitya is an appearance. The snake is an appearance. Can you see the rope? Can you recognize the rope in the snake? And smile at it saying, it looks beautiful. Can you recognize the round earth even when you are walking on a flat one? Yes, Swamiji, that I can. You know the way BMC has dug up everything, we are always balancing. I'm not talking about that. Okay, that's another experience. To recognize the self in spite of all limitations. That there is one existence consciousness in and through everything. And I am that consciousness. I am that existence. Forms don't limit me. It limits my body, it limits my functioning. It limits my experience. But I recognize that I am limitlessness. Nityaha nityanam. Body will die, it has to die. How long do you want to keep this old body going? Yeah. 90 years, 80 years, 100 years. Who wants more? Yeah, come on. Yeah. Do you want to be like that? Ab to bilkul booda hu, goli khakar jeeta hu. As long as you are functional, fine. Can you stop being functional? Samadhi mein baith ke nikal jao, aur kya karna hai? Body is meant to. Don't you all change your car every few years? Yeah. Then change the body also. Kitna time? 90 years, 100 years, bas ho gaya. 100 years also very few people reach. Anyway, that apart. That reminds me, I must see somebody, a student of mine who is 98. He is already 90. I must better see him soon. Therefore, Nityam Anityanam, the one that is constant in all the finite things. Chetanaha Achetananam. This mind and body by itself is insentient. Can't think, can't do. But the consciousness makes it sentient. This book, insentient, but there is existence consciousness right here. Now only existence is manifest. If I introduce a mind into it, consciousness also will be manifest. There was a time long ago when this was sentient, conscious. It was a thinking, feeling entity. Samji, your book? Yep, my book. When it was a tree. When it was a tree, it was thinking and feeling, na? It was sentient, it was growing. Yeah. So that way, Nityam Anityanam, Chetanascha Chetananam, and all the insentient things. In the computer, in the this. Yeah. In all of them, there is one consciousness existence. Existence, consciousness, one and the same. Sattaya hi chit, chittaya hi sat. Ramana. What is known as sat is nothing but chit. What is known as chit is nothing but sat. Therefore, chetanam achetananam. Eko bahunam. Ekaha, one in the many. But human beings are very creative. You ask an architect. This architect is dealing with. Swamiji, we work with space, you know. You have a 2-bedroom house, we can make it 3. He said, Reva de. Within the space available, you are creating walls, this, that, partitions, barriers. You are not working with space. You are working with your materials. Space is one and the same. Call it what you want. Why not break all the walls and make it one big hall? Or put a few more walls and create another room. It's all the same. One space. In and through the walls, the space exists. So in and through all the forms, that one reality exists. Swamiji's old example. 1 gold, million ornaments. Yeah, 1 gold. Though you can have a million ornaments. If you have any doubt about it, leave the gold with me and take the ornament back. This is called experiential learning, different type. Bring your golden ornament to me, leave the gold with me and take your ornament back. What will I do with an ornament? Sadhu aadmi hai. Ornament se kya karega? No wife or girlfriend to give it to. I don't wear any ornaments anyway. Sadhu hai, Rudraksha panega aur kya panega. But gold काम में आ जाएगा. So leave the gold with me and take the ornament back. You do that with 1 chain, you will never forget all your life. Yeah. So, ekam bahunam. So, a million things in the world. Millions, billions, or zillions of things. One reality, one existence consciousness. One existence consciousness, though there can be zillions of things. Yeah. Yo vididati kaman. You're not leaving it that, you know. Why? And that is manifests all your desires. Now look at what happens. That why is he put vididati kaman? The Lord creates all these desirable objects. Because that is what will prevent you from knowing the truth. I want this, I don't want that. I can't stand that. What a color green is, I can't stand it. What did that poor green do to earn your hate? I don't know. Oh, this light blue I like. So these raga dveshas in your mind, these likes and dislikes in your mind, keeps you where? Caught up in the forms. Keeps you caught up in the form. It is natural, it is human. You will find this in a wise person also. I always say, a wise person from the south, from Tamil Nadu, like how my guru was, or how Atmaratuttananji was. समझी क्या पियेंगे? दूध पियेंगे क्या कॉफी? दूध? Coffee. Coffee there also. Not your cappuccino and all that thing. Now it's hot. Typical South Indian filter coffee. That is coffee. Everything else is hot drink. And this is the Punjaban Mahatma. महाराज जी क्या पियेंगे? अरे जब दूध पी सकता है कॉफी कौन पिएगा? That is your background. That is not a problem. That's just a preference. That's just a preference. If the whole world is reduced to your preference, there is no problem for you. But these strong likes and dislikes, that keeps us bound in the forms, in the Namarupas. That is why they say. Okay? That is why they say, he is putting it here. I prefer this, I prefer that, no problem. Yeah. Maharaj ji, Singhada khayega? Oh, fried things, I hate it. Huh? You hate it? You don't want to eat it, don't eat it, yeah. Why do you want to eat it? Yeah, I don't. It's fried. I don't think it, with my cholesterol, etc., I should be eating it. Okay, don't eat it. Arey, cholesterol, kuch nahi hai. Thank God for all my exercising. Maja se kha lo. If it is that way, if you keep the whole world in that, just practical things, no problems. But we don't. Then how do you get our likes and dislikes? We have seen that earlier. Karma Yoga Buddhi, all that thing. Linking up your likes and dislikes with your priorities. Likes and dislikes with your priority of health. Then you will understand, okay, certain things to be avoided, certain things not. The likes and dislikes come down, the priority comes up. Then Karma Yoga Buddhi with respect to what you are doing. Prasada, Ishvara Arpanam, all that thing. Then life is fine, then knowledge happens. Then you will be like this. Everything is only a preference. Tam Atmastam. For to be like this, what? Atmastam bhavati. Atma jnane nishta. You are rooted in the knowledge. Atmastam, everyone is Atmastam. But we don't think ourselves as Atmastam. We are generally Manastam or Dehastam. Rooted in the body or mind. Body in terms of our comfort orientation. Oh my God, comfort orientation is high. The light should be exact, the fan should be exact, the AC temperature. I've seen going by car, asking the driver from the back seat, what is the temperature? 24 degrees, madam. Oh, 23 bana do. As though your skin is going to feel 1 degree difference. Okay. I can understand if she said make it 20. Okay, 3-4 degrees difference, your skin will recognize. 1 degree difference. So we have Dehastam there. Or Manastam. We are so caught up in our feelings that our feelings are everything. I can't go there because in that house that dog is there. Arey, that dog is harmless. It only barks, it doesn't bite. And they kept it tied up. What if it breaks, etc.? It breaks that rope and comes over. No, I'm not going to. Arey, they locked it up in another room. By mistake, if it opens up and the dog comes out. Feelings. Your fear is ruling you. Manastam there. You are rooted in your mind. Yeah, because that feeling has taken over all perception of functional reality also is not there. Functional reality this is. Even the functional reality you are not in touch with. Your feelings are everything to you. If you are a student of psychology, थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही हो जाता है ये. Because feelings are important, you know. I am not saying feelings are not important. But there has to be some harmony between your feelings and external realities. That's called Vairagya, an objectivity coming in. Or Buddhism also. This is right. That Prana Pratishtha is wrong because the temple is not ready. Some champions came to me like that. I said, there's a big difference between Kumbhabhisheka and Prana Pratishtha. Prana Pratishtha is for the Murti. If the Garbhagraha is ready, you can do that. Kumbhabhishekam is for the temple and the Murtis. Temple is primary, Murti is secondary. So there the whole temple has to be ready. The Shastra, there is enough in the Shastra for that. There is enough in terms of what has been done before also in it. Yeah. But no, I don't believe that. This is it. And some guy said, the flag is the hair of the Lord. The shikara is the crown of the Lord. All this is not ready. How can you do Prana Pratishtha? When the body is not ready, how can you do Prana Pratishtha? That shows he doesn't even understand the Vastu of the temple. The Vastu Purusha is not straight. The Vastu Purusha is lying down with his feet at the main entrance and the head where this is. So he is on the ground. And accordingly you will put up things. So that he doesn't understand, but they talk. All sorts of. Why? Buddhism, what I think is the right thing. Buddhism. No confirmation from the Shastra Pramana, Agama Pramana, etc. Nothing. मेरा पंडित ऐसे बोला वही है, वही सही है. But Swamiji, all over North India they believe this, na? That's called Loka Vyavahara Pratishtha. I am digressing slightly, okay? There are 3 ways a temple can be established. The Tantrika Pratishtha, like Kamakya temple and all Kerala temples. The Agama or the Vedic Pratishtha, most other temples. Loka Vyavahara Pratishtha by popular faith. Then Loka Vyavahara you can make all these kalpanas. This is like that, that is like that. Also the kalpana kar sakta. Ayodhya temple is Agama Pratishtha, okay? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, here is where you make a difference between what is factually true and your own thinking. If you are lost in your own thinking, Buddhism. When are you going to be Atmastam? When you recognize. When you gain, to recognize Atmastam, you have to gain a great degree of objectivity, otherwise known as Vairagya, with respect to your body and its demands, with respect to your emotion and its demand, with respect to your thinking and its demands, ideologically. Swamiji, looks like you belong to the Hindutva ideology. I belong to the way, I don't belong to any ideology. I do what's practical. In Vyavahara, what is practical, I do. I am committed to what? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. That's not an ideology, that's a fact of what I am. Everything else you do what is practical. Even a particular situation, a socialist thinking helps, do that. In a particular situation, a more capitalist thinking, do that. Do what works. Simple as that. Pragmatic. Why? You are rooted on the self. Therefore, these are all ideas. You are not held prisoner of any ideology. You do what is necessary. All ideas are manifestations of Ishvara anyway. So what works, works. What works, works. Do what works. That's fundamental principle of living. Don't forget this. Do what works. But ideologically this is correct. I'll do only that. Go bang your head against the wall. Keep banging. Buddhist, no. Atmastam. You are rooted in the knowledge of what you really are. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. This is it. And then you can look at everything. Take the good in everything. Negate what is not. Good and bad also relative, na? Situational. Yeah. It's situational. So you do what is situationally valid. If at all there is something to be taken care of, which is universal, universal dharma. But universal dharma is relative in application. Is universal in content, relative in application. I am not talking of situational morality, but I am talking about situational application of the universal principle. If you live like that, easy to be Atmastam, Atmastam. Ye anupashyanti dhiraha. Who sees this? What? Nityam anityanam. Chetanam achetananam. Ekaha bahunam. Those who see that, anupashyanti dhiraha, tesham shashvatim shantim. Eternal peace, the peace that passeth all your experience, that's beyond all experience. That peace is yours, he says. Yeah. You can be right in the middle of a battle and still be peaceful. Yeah, right in the middle of it. Of course, I am giving examples of extreme cases, and none of you will be called for something like that. Like Bhishma on the battlefield. Bhishma was a jnani. They recognized that only after the end of the battle, at the end of the battle. That's why when Shikandri, he gave the clue how he can be killed. The Pandavas go to him. Grandfather, how will we ever win this war? He laughs. He says, my dharma is keeping the eternal dharma from functioning. My personal dharma is preventing the other dharma from coming. He said, yes. So remove me from the scene. He says that, kill me, he is saying, literally. Grandfather, how can we ever fight against you and win? He laughs and turns to Krishna and says, Krishna, tell them, remind them my vow that I will never fight someone who is born as a woman or someone born as a woman. There they get the idea of putting Shikandini in front, and so that Bhishma will lay down his arms. And when the arrow starts coming, he laughs. He says, Neme bhana Shikandinaha, Neme bhana Arjunasya. These arrows are not Shikandis. Half these arrows are Arjuna's arrows. Na ime has got neme, has got two meanings. Neme meaning na ime, these are not. Neme also means half. Half these are what is Shikandini's arrows bounce off my armor. Arjuna's arrows penetrate my armor and burn my flesh. Can you imagine sitting down, standing there like that and describing it? Of course, there is a high degree of nishtha plus warrior abilities. Both are involved in it, okay? There may be a wise person with that nishtha, but who cannot do this because he is not warrior trained. Therefore, handling pain, etc. is more a warrior's job. Okay? But I have seen it being handled differently. Like my own guru. Swamiji, how are you? Who's that? I can't see you clearly. Okay. No, my eyes are compromised. My lungs are compromised. Heart is functioning only at 20%. Kidneys are fired, but I'm fine. I'm Ananda. I'm fine. Atmastam, rooted in that knowledge, self-knowledge. Yeah. Rooted in that self-knowledge, Atmastam. So they get that peace, he says, which is beyond all experience. Because Atma Surupam, that Shanti is Atma Surupam. That's how you interpret Ramayana. Shanti is Surupa of the Atma, Rama. Okay, that's a Adhyatmik Ramayana interpretation. That sometimes you will see that. Then He is asking a very rhetorical question, and in the very asking the question, the answer is clear. Okay. Tadetaditi manyante anirdesham paramam sukham katam tu na vijaniyat kim bhati vibhati va. Etad iti manyante katam vijaniyan. This reality, how will I know? Anirdrishyam paramam sukham. Because it is not an object of description. Really, we use words to describe. Atma is infinite, divine, supreme bliss. Forgetting that the more words you use, the more adjectives you pile on, the more finite you make it. What is infinite? I know only finite things. Supreme. What is supreme? Supremo. Supreme commander? Or Lux Supreme. What is supreme? Supreme has got no meaning. Divine. That is worse. What is divine? This coffee. Divine. South Indian mommy has made it. Divine. Savji, coffee. Give me something stronger. That is divine. Somebody else. What is divine? Bliss, most subjective word ever. Highly subjective. Look at it. If I don't utter a word, my mind is full of infinite possibilities. No? Then I utter one word. Let it be a noun. Pen. One word I utter. Just one. What have I done? By uttering that one word, pen, I have negated the sun and the moon and the stars and the trees and the men and women and children. Can you imagine? By one word uttering, how finite I have made that choice. From infinite possibilities, so much has been negated because pen. Then pen also, there are so many. I will say a gel pen. The moment I say gel pen, fountain pens, ball pens, this, that, etc., pencil pens, all of them have gone out. Gel pens. Another adjective. Silver color. Black, blue, red, green, yellow, orange, all they're gone out. Silver color. Then I give a location. In my hand. From the infinite possibilities, what have I done by adding adjectives? Made it more and more finite. Correct? Now you know what happens. Atma is infinite, divine, supreme bliss. ऐसा होता है. It is non-descriptive. It is non-descriptive. When you say existence, what am I doing? The content of all forms of existence. Is that limited or is that limitless? All forms of existence are dependent on this. This is independent existence. Think about it. Thoda sochne ka baat hai, okay? I am going to reveal everything. I want you all to think a bit, okay? Katham tu na vijaniyam. How do I understand it? Because kim bhati vibhati va. Bhati, is it illumined by something? Because to know something, you need a pramana, isn't it? To know this pen, you need your eyes to see this. To hear the sound, you need a pramana. Hey, there's a car going out there. Inference. I can't see the car, I heard the sound and inferred car. So like this, I need various means of knowledge. Therefore, bhati, is it illumined by a means of knowledge? Or vibhati, does it shine by itself? Does it shine by itself? Okay. Or either way, is it an object of your intellect? Because if it's an object of your intellect, it becomes finite. Because subject object, no, I am illuming that. How is it? How is that? Which he gives an answer in the next verse, very beautiful verse. This is usually chanted in every arati, at the end of the arati. Okay? Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidito bhantihi kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. There, with respect to the Atma, Atmani, na tatra suryo bhati, the sun cannot illuminate. If the sun cannot illuminate, your eyes cannot also see it. Na chandra tarakam, nor the moon or the stars, nothing can illumine this reality, he says. Nema vidyito bhatihi, this flashy lightning, in a flash it illuminates. Kutaha ayam agnihi, how can this small fire called my eyes, etc., the agni that is present in my eyes, how can that illuminate? If you are doing it at the end of the arati, that kutaha ayam agnihi, this camphor that I am doing the arati with, how can this illuminate? If you are looking at it yourself, the light in your eyes, how can that illuminate? Because to see something you must need bright eyes. Your eyes should be capable of seeing. The chetanata should be there. If the chetanata is not there, you can't see anything anyway. It should be backed by the mind. Then he says, Tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Tam atmanam bhanti sarvam anubhati. Tad isharam bhati sarvam anubhati. I see the world in the light of the sun. Correct? Or any other source of light, I see everything. But the sun is bright for me because my eyes are bright and sentient. If I had cataract or something, I will not have a bright sun. I will have a hot sun, but not a bright sun. And the eyes are bright because there is a bright mind behind it. There is a sentient mind backing it up. If my mind is elsewhere, we all have had this experience. You are lost in thought. Friend walks in. You have not seen him. Why? You are lost in thought. Your mind is elsewhere. And then he waves his hand in front of him. Or, oh, I'm sorry. Kya khayalo mein tha kya? Kya khayalo mein tha? Next one. Okay. We all had this experience. Therefore, if the sentient mind is not backing it up, therefore the eyes can see only because my mind is backing it up. The mind is backing it up because the mind is sentient. And why is the mind sentient? Tameva bhantam, that I, consciousness, is always a shine. There is never a time when consciousness is not conscious. Even when your mind is in deep sleep, the consciousness objectifies that sleeping mind so that you can get up in the morning and say, I slept well. Tameva bhantam sarvam anubhati. Therefore, do you really need the Shastra to know you are there, you exist? How do you know you exist? By what pramana you came to know I exist? This is a French philosopher, René Descartes. He said, I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I doubt. Because even when I am not thinking, I exist. Anyway, in deep sleep, I don't think, but I exist. Between two thoughts, I am not thinking, but I exist. Therefore, it's self-evident. My existence is self-evident. It is known to me without the necessity of any pramana. Thank God for that. Because to use a means of knowledge, a pramana, you have to be established first. I know I am, I exist. Then I use the pramana of my eyes to see everything. Not very clear. Then I can put on the specs to say, now it is clear. Why? I have to be established. If I need a pair of specs to see myself, I will never get around it. I will never get around to it. Why? Because to know the eyes doesn't see, I have to be known. For I to be known, they need a pramana. For that I to be known, they need another pramana. I will go on ad infinitum. But the fact that you recognize, immediate, I see, is the proof that you are self-evident. Though it doesn't really require proof. Atma sata siddhas, swayam jyoti. Therefore, tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. Then Swamiji, why are we studying the Shastra? I know I am. No? I know I am. Why do I have to study the Shastra? Good question. Let us close the book and go home. I know I am, but there is a small problem there. Bulla na jane mein kaun hu. I don't know who I am, what I am. I only know I am. Look at it. Look at the condition. I know I am, but I don't know what I am. Ideal condition to make errors, no? If you know you exist, but you don't know what you are, you will always make a self-judgment about yourself based on the body, mind, or whatever you are associated with. This is how all identities come up. Today we are searching for our identity. I don't want to be known as someone's brother, son, daughter. Then what do? Go and pick up a job. That gives you an identity. There's another identity, same mistaken identity. It is like my old example. I sometimes keep example consistent not for want of creativity, but for want of consistency. To be consistent. Your favorite actor, he decided to do a role on the stage because that's ultimate acting. No retakes. No? And the hero is a beggar there. The beggar becomes a hero. Why not? You see South Indian movies? Rickshaw drivers and all are heroes. Yeah. See some of the South Indian movies, you should see them. Anyway, the beggar is a hero. He is supposed to go to this hotel to beg for some food. And the bouncer pushes him. And he falls on the ground. And then he is supposed to get up and break into a song. No real life beggar will ever do it. But this is Hindi plays, come on. Bollywood. These are all Bollywood productions. What do you expect? As far removed as reality as possible. Escape is fair. Okay, it has this point. So today the bouncer pushed him a little too hard. He fell, banged his head on the floor. And for a second, he is unconscious. For a second. Then he gets up. Aha, what realistic acting it is. Then he looks at himself. He has forgotten who I am, what I am, all that he has forgotten. Amnesia, temporary. Then he looks at himself. I am dressed as a beggar. I must be a beggar. Today no song will come from his lips. He'll be begging real life. It won't be a song. And he'll see, hey, stage there are people I can beg. Then he looks and says, audience, arey wah, itna chalo. Haath phailao jara. Why? If I don't know who I am, I'll make a self-judgment based on what I'm associated with. In his case, the dress. In my case, the body. Your body, your mind, your reasoning, your thinking, your feelings, and then how it has been conditioned in your upbringing, your cultural heritage, your lack of cultural heritage, your nationalism, this, that, all that go change. Now I am a very functional adult. Functional, dysfunctional. What is functional about it? All wrong identities. But the whole world is mad, therefore it is okay. Because the whole world is in the same position, you are doing very well. And people like us are called mad. क्या पागलपना बात कर रहा है? कुछ काम धंधा नहीं है क्या? नहीं है. That is how the situation is. You can't help it. Therefore the Shastras, Shastram Patha, not to know that I am, to know what I am. To know I am, I don't need the Shastra. To know what I am. What is this I? Am I this experiential self? The self that I am relating to every experience? Or is there something more to it? Am I this thinking, feeling, talking, walking entity? Or is there more to it than I am? And we all know there is more to it. Even though many people, but look at your life before you came to Vedanta. An astrologer is there. Hey, good astrologer will tell you everything about yourself. Really? I'll go to him. Why? Hey, what is there to know about yourself? You know, na? No. That's why all papers have an astrological column based on your sun signs. All cooked up and written, but okay. Why is it sells a paper? Some bearded guy comes into town and says, self-knowledge. You say, I come to say and talk, self-knowledge. And there are a lot of new people coming in because that bearded guy looks interesting, you know, or whatever. He doesn't look like a typical sadhu. There must be something about him. Correct. Okay, fine. They come. And if I start the talk saying, how can I tell you who you are? I don't even know your names. How is it that you have walked in here? Correct, no? Why? Because everyone senses there is something more to me than what I have concluded myself as. Somewhere in the depths of your memory, in the depths of your being, something is stirred which tells you you are more than what you have concluded yourself to be. That's what brings you to Vedanta, brings you to a talk like this. Then of course Jignasa, Mumukshatam, all that thing comes. Because the more aware you are of yourself, the more you recognize that everything is not well with me. And I want to get free from my existential issues, from my issues of life and death, from my issues of sorrow, isolation, loneliness, sorrow, the existential things. I want to get free from that. If that much you have come, Vedanta works for me. Then you will understand, Tamayava bhantam anubhati sarvam. That shining, the consciousness, everything else shines after it. Tamayava bhantam anubhati sarvam. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. In the light of that alone, everything is shining. In the light of the consciousness, the whole world shines. All the planets and the galaxies, everything shines in the light of I consciousness. My mind may not have all the knowledge in it, it doesn't matter. All that you know and you don't know shines in your consciousness alone. Through the cosmic mind, the consciousness objectifies the whole cosmos. Through my mind, it objectifies my world. The difference is in the mind, not in consciousness. Anubhati sarvam. Tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Itna hi baat hai, aur kya hai? Simple. Really. Vedanta sometimes is the most simple thing. For a student who is ready, Vedanta is the most simple. Nothing is complex about it. The Royal Highway, Seedha baat hai. Yeah, to get your mind, you may have to do something about it. So that what to do, etc. You remember in the Gita 15 chapter we saw the Ashwatha tree, the tree of samsara, etc. from Kathopanishad. Okay, Kathopanishad next chapter also deals with the tree, Urdhva Madashakha, etc. The Kathopanishad, and what to do about it, how to go about it, all that it deals with. Some of the things that I need to do to get my mind ready for this knowledge, that also it says. Not as elaborate as the Gita, of course, but it says. Because by the time you come to the Upanishad, you are expected to have thoda preparation. Okay, so some fine tuning alone. Some fine tuning alone. So that we will see next class. Okay, yeah. That we will see in the next class. Good place to stop. Okay, Om Tat Sat.